Hi, honey. Oh, you're muted.
I know. I just noticed that as soon as I said the words out of my mouth.
I love it. Okay, this is so super exciting. I'm really excited to do this with you. So, welcome everybody. I am Catherine Bell, and I am super excited to have here uh, a woman who's had a huge amount of influence in my life. And here's what's extraordinary as I think about our relationship. I mean, we've known each other for well over a decade. It's
Mm,
insane. And we actually met at CEO Space, another whole networking thing for those of you who remember. And we've been a part of a women's mastermind. I was thinking about it. It's been like, Earlene, it's been 7 years.
wow. Yeah.
7 years that we meet every single Wednesday and going along life together, and for me, it's
Mm,
like, just all the seasons of life from raising super fun, prickly teenagers, and then having my husband pass away and going walking alongside of me through that whole journey, and then your whole journey of moving from the West Coast to the East Coast, and then
mhm, mhm.
again, the whole taking care of your grandkids, like just doing life together all these years. I mean, it really is extraordinary. So to have you come on and share with everybody your brilliance inside of this just makes my heart sing. So I'm super excited to have everybody learn from you. So, and I know there's a way bigger whole professional thing to talk about, but everybody just had to hear the personal piece of why I love you so much. So, in the meantime, without further ado, I'm going to let you take it over and go from here. And I will just come in and, ask my random questions that I do. So, thank you for coming on and for sharing this with our entire audience. Super excited that you're here.
Yeah, Catherine. Well, thank you so much for this and this opportunity to share, with your audience, my audience, and just in general. And it has been an amazing 10 years or longer. Um, and, just as much as I've had impacts on your life, you have had a profound impact on my life as well. And so grateful for having done life together. And at least one of the stories I actually love to share, and we're going to get there in a minute, really is a piece of the story that goes back to when your husband passed away.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so with that, I'm going to go ahead and just jump right in
Yeah.
and talk a little bit about the dream method. And this is created as a way to think about how you step into your big dreams and what are those big dreams. So as we start looking at that, the first thing, as I look at life in general, ultimately my mission is to help women turn their side hustle into their legacy business so they can truly step into their purpose and the power that they have for their life and the calling that they have on that. And so as we start talking about today, thinking about your life where you start overcoming those roadblocks. And so you've got D as is the first step, but the second step is related to your roadblocks. And so it's, getting clear on your purpose, but I like to take a step back and look at those dreams. What are those dreams that you've given up on? Maybe they were the dreams that someone said, you'll never achieve that. I have a dear friend who was told, if you pursue your art, you will be a starving artist. And for a number of years, she was, because she believed that dream, or believed that lie. But then she stepped into, wait a minute, that doesn't have to be my truth. She now has a thriving business where she uses her art. She's doing the things that she loves, and she's set aside the lies that someone set on her life, and it may have been a well-meaning individual at the time, but they still spoke that into her, and she stepped into that place. In some cases, you've given up on the dreams because you're pursuing the dream that someone else set for you. And I know two of the big professions that frequently, or three, dentists, doctors, and lawyers have a tendency to want to see their offspring come into that same life. And so start setting the stages early on for them achieving the dream that the parent has, not what is really the purpose for their life. And
Well,
so
and I
as
talk about it like living your version of your life versus somebody else's version of your life, right?
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And so that is, as we talk about the dream method, it's just outlined with dream big, recognize your roadblocks. And for roadblocks, it can be those lies that are holding you back. I also find in my world that I run into a lot of women who are just overwhelmed and overcome by the challenges of their technology. And it's because they're allowing the world to say, okay, if you get this perfect tool, then life will be perfect. And all of a sudden they've got 10 perfect tools and they're spending all their time trying to figure out tools, as opposed to stepping into their brilliance and their genius and allowing their technology to support them as opposed to holding them back. I had one client I was working with at one point who had spent so much time on free 30-day trials that they were doing nothing to advance their business. They were so focused on, I've got to get the right tool, that they weren't selling the product they had. They had a workshop that they could be selling then, and they had all the technology they needed. They didn't need anything more than a Zoom account, social media to start getting people to come to their class, and a way to collect payments. Yet they were worried about having all of the right things in place. And so they were looking for this future of, I've got to have this in place now, as opposed to what they needed down the road. So some of it is simplifying now and then moving on. But it's a matter of, first off, identifying or recognizing those roadblocks. And then the next step is elevate your energy. And that's all around gratitude. Where you focus your energies on gratitude, then you all of a sudden make a shift. I challenge you to, in those moments where you're up against the roadblocks and you're hitting them hard, to sit down and spend 5 minutes writing a list of everything you're grateful for. I had a coach I worked with a number of years ago who was challenged. He was actually living in a tin shed in Utah in the desert. He was basically homeless. It's 110 degrees outside, so you can only imagine how hot it was inside that tin shed. And he had a coach that challenged him to write down everything he's grateful for. His first reaction is, what do you mean? I don't have anything to be grateful for. I'm living in a tin shed in Utah. It's hotter inside than it is outside. And the coach didn't let up. And so as a result, he finally was sitting there, and all of a sudden he says, I'm grateful for the pen I'm writing with. I'm grateful that I can make notes. I'm grateful for the way it feels in my hand. I'm grateful that I can send off letters to other people. And all of a sudden, he found all sorts of things to be grateful for. And his energy absolutely shifted in that moment. And so sometimes it can be as simple as recognizing that pen you've got in your hand and then allowing the energy to shift as a result of having spent that time figuring out all the things you're grateful for. And in those moments, that then allows you to then have your mind wider open to the possibilities. What's possible? Start asking better questions of, either how can I, or I even love the question of, who do I need to meet that helps me overcome that? So, going back to the overwhelm of technology, if that's not your genius, then that's not the place you need to invest your time. You need to put your time into the thing that you're gifted at, your greatness, and allow somebody else's greatness to show up in helping you overcome your technology challenges. And by doing that, that then helps you move forward faster. And so it may be a matter of there's somebody you need to meet. In this stage, it's also about saying, getting into the, I'm grateful for whatever it is that's the solution to your problem. Maybe you're an artist and you're great. I'm grateful for the paintbrush that someone just donated to me. I'm grateful for this canvas I just found laying around. Or maybe it's I'm grateful in advance for this $25,000 that just came in and that helped me spur my business on. I'm grateful
So
in advance. Yeah.
so I love this. So two things I just want to say about this gratefulness. I mean, this is huge what you're saying. In James and I, who's he's apparently he's in Barbados on a cruise right now listening to you. Because apparently he's super grateful. But I remember one of the conversations him and I initially had was when he shared with me about when he shifted his focus to being deep gratitude. And he's like one of the most grateful people on the planet. And he just shares that all the time. And I was thinking the other morning, I'm literally at the gym and all these people had gotten up, all the staff, like they're there at like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning so that I can go have a workout. They do all the things inside of what they're doing. And that allows me the freedom to be able to stay focused, take care of myself so that I can go make the impact in the world that I'm making, right? So, and
Mhm.
sharing with them, like, thank you for getting up at dark 30 to come and have a job that literally provides such an amazing service that now it elevates me to the next level to go make that impact. Like, in essence, they're helping make that impact, right? So when we can
Right.
share that gratitude with others around us and the impact of what they're doing, the service that they're providing to us, that it elevates us to a next level to make that impact. I mean, what would happen in the world if we expressed that gratitude to them, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and as you say that, that brings to mind two things. One is the impact you're making on them. Sometimes even the fact that you greet them warmly and smile at them is enough to set their day on an entirely different trajectory.
Yeah.
And so it can sometimes be as simple as just even smiling, but even taking the next step and thanking them for what they're doing, being grateful for them, makes a huge difference.
Yep.
And, as I want to go back to as you're looking at the action plan, where you're grateful in advance. One of the things that sometimes when you start, and there's a lot of people who create there's all sorts of different beliefs around the the word has just escaped me. But anyway, where your mantras or whatever it is, I'm grateful that, there's a new blue car in my driveway or whatever. Your mind sometimes, if it's big enough to where your mind can't believe it, you get roadblocks in that. So in that moment where you say, I'm grateful in advance for the new blue car that's in my driveway, all of a sudden your mind's ready to start figuring out how you can figure that out, as opposed to saying, oh no, that's impossible. And so you're playing with your mind and you're allowing your mind to believe that there are possibilities of being able to have that, or have the new money that just dropped into your bank account, or say I all of a sudden got a $213 random check from an account I had closed a number of years ago, but something came back through as a refund on something. I still don't even know exactly what it was, but it was money that just dropped in my bank account. And so you just never know when those kinds of things start happening, as long as you're not allowing your mind to limit you. And
Yeah.
so that's the powerful piece of that. And then the last step is mobilizing your dream carriers. And Catherine, this is the one that really speaks. You actually are the voice that created the mobilizing your dream carriers. And this
Oh,
goes
wow.
back to when your husband passed away and you were in the midst of going public with your hedge fund. You were moving forward, and all of a sudden your world just crashed in on you.
Mm-hmm.
But you had those coaches and you had the support team that was a part of your community, that was a part of your dream, that in those moments when you're now raising two 14-year-old twins all on your own and your world has just been turned upside down, but you had those people who were able to carry your dream forward, keep the ball going until you were able to pick that ball back up again and start running.
Yeah,
And
that was a game changer for me, and that's thank you for bringing that up. Like that, I'm clear for myself. Like had I not shared my dreams with so many people, right, and close people around me, and when my world literally came crashing down around me, I mean,
mhm,
I could not fathom any dreams at that point. I
uh-huh,
couldn't hold my dreams. I didn't have the capacity. Like I forgot I had dreams. And it was
right.
everybody else carrying those dreams for me while I couldn't, that they reminded me, you have these dreams, Catherine, around you. And I just, at that point, like I was so hopeless
Mhm.
in that dark place that I thank God for all those people that carried them
Yeah.
forward when I really couldn't.
Yeah. But in that is that really powerful lesson for everybody is who are those people that you've surrounded yourself? Who are the coaches that can help even guiding traffic? Because there are some of the things that could continue to move forward without you because you had some of the right support people in place. So not only were they helping you keep the dream alive, but they were helping to move it forward in those times when you could do nothing.
So here's the thing I also want to say that I want to step back for just a second. And I remember I was in my early 20s when somebody asked me, what are your dreams? What are your goals? And I was like, what are you talking about? Because I'm clear who I had been raised by through my life. It was not only not safe to dream, but it was unacceptable to dream. It
Wow.
was
Yeah.
unacceptable to have goals. It was unacceptable. Like literally what I was taught was, and what they spoke was, you were born into extreme poverty. That's where you're meant to stay. And that's where your life is going to be. And to the core of my being, like I knew that that was like a lie. And I just wasn't going to live into that. But again, but being brainwashed my whole life to not have goals, not have dreams, any of that, like that impacted me. So in my 20s, when I started, like, I had to learn how to dream. I
Mhm.
literally had to learn how to do that. Like, I had no idea, no concept, which probably sounds crazy to some people. But again, if you weren't born into a family or surrounded by people that encouraged and nurtured and cultivated that, it literally is a skill. So,
Yeah. Well, and as you share that, there are also people who shut their dreams down because it's not practical.
right,
So, for example, there was someone, the client I was working with a while back, who really wanted to learn to play the piano, but they didn't have a way to make money. Therefore, they couldn't go learn how to play the piano. When in fact, learning to play the piano may open up their creative mind in such a way that they're able to propel their business forward faster because they did pursue that dream. So sometimes we can look at a dream and say, okay, yeah, I have to set that one aside because it doesn't even make sense right now where I'm trying to grow in this area. And so there's all sorts of reasons why we shut down dreams, or as you say, need to learn how to dream. And that's there are you're I don't think you're alone, to be honest with you. I've run into a number of people who have been told what they needed to do, and that was all they were pursuing, as opposed to stepping into who they knew God created them to be and believing fully who He said they were and what they were called to do. And
right.
so it is a matter of taking that very first step and making sure that you're really clear that within us, we all have dreams. We all have a purpose and a reason that we're here. And we have people out there that we are the answer to their prayer.
Right.
And so we need to step into that person in order for those prayers to be answered.
Yeah. That's huge.
Yeah. So at this point, I know we're coming up on nearing the end of our time. So I do have a gift on my dreamupevents.com website. There is a downloadable that you can get this mapped out for you. And I encourage you to spend the time. You can spend as little as 5 minutes, really. But reality is if you spend the time you invest in doing that, the value you get will be incredible. And
Right.
I also find that setting the stage, set up. Maybe you need some instrumental music in the background. Maybe you set the mood with either um, essential oils or candles or all those things that allow you to step into that place that gives you that place to learn to dream and start writing those dreams down. And then what are the obstacles? What are those things that have held you back? And then spending significant time, at least 5 minutes in the grateful section, and then going into the overcoming those obstacles. And then the last is I challenge you to identify your dream carriers. Who are those people that you're sharing the dreams with? Who are those people? And it's not those naysayers in your world. It's those people who are going to encourage you, or if even necessary, help pick up the ball and carry it forward with you. And so as you go through that process, there are many people out there. If someone says, I really hear what you're saying, and I'd love to have a separate conversation. I would also invite you to schedule a call with me where, we can go through a 30-minute conversation and just look at what are the dreams? What are some of those things? And maybe some of it could be, what are those roadblocks that you still have, or the blinders you still have on, that a second listening ear hears it differently and encourages you to be able to step into a new place. And so I would love to be able to serve you in that way. It is a complimentary call, and it really is that opportunity for you to learn how to step into the fullness of the legacy, whatever that looks like. Some people, the legacy is huge. I have a friend and client, Sean, who hers is to unite and change the world. There are others, it's just to make a difference in their immediate family and see their families step into amazing humans, whatever that looks like. And so I would absolutely love to support you in that way as well.
I love that. This is beautiful. So, we are going to be doing you want to go to the next one?
Yes, I will.
So on Thursday, we're going to be having a Q&A session about this because I want to honor and respect everybody's time. I know we only have bite-sized pieces. So we're coming back together on Thursday at 12 p.m. to actually answer questions and have an actual conversation about all of this and about your goals and dreams and roadblocks and, maybe wins, like all the cool things about all of it. Maybe I'll share some about my dream boards and manifesting my babies and all the fun things.
I love that.
Excuse me. So look forward to having you all join us on Thursday. And we'll be sending out this recording as well. So for all of you who missed this, come back on Thursday and we'd love to have a conversation with you. And I'd love for you to just engage with Earlene. And I mean, you'll fall in love with her just like I did a decade ago. And again, she's a dream keeper, a dream holder, who's personally held my dreams for a very long time through the darkest part of my life. So with that, I hope you all have an extraordinary Tuesday, and I look forward to seeing you on Thursday. So, with that, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Earlene, thank you for being here. I can't wait for everybody to come back on Thursday and have conversations and do all the fun things.
Yes. Well, thank you so much as well. I just absolutely love being here with you.
I love it. So fun. Okay, with that, thank you, everybody, and we'll see you on Thursday. Okay, bye bye, everyone.